Здравейте, колеги и приятели! Радвам се да ви видя, да сме заедно на този семинар. От името на Централно-Европейската онлайн библиотека CEEOL бих искал да ви приветствам добре дошли на съвместния семинар Международна академична издателство "Всички стъпки за публикуване" с CEEOL Press. Той е организиран от CEEOL Press и CEEOL. Julian, please make me post.
Yes, done.
Thank you. Както всички знаете, през последните 20 години CEEOL предоставя достъп до научни периодични издания в областта на хуманитарните и социалните науки от Централна, Източна и Източна Европа, а през последните години и до електронни книги издания на сивата литература, издания по BSI в тези области. CEEOL ще сътрудничи с повече от 1200 издателства и с повече от 2400 редакционни колеги в Централна и Източна Европа. Посредством CEEOL българските автори, публикациите на българските автори стават познати и достъпни и достигат до всеки един интересуващ се читател от програматиката по целия свят, или както казваме, те могат да бъдат четени от Китайската академия на науките до Конгреса, библиотеката на Конгреса в САЩ. Това са повече от 140 научни и образователни, значими научни образователни институции по целия свят. И заедно с повече от 200 000 регистрирани индивидуални ползватели, те представляват едно широко поле за достъп, предоставено от CEEOL на авторите от Централна и Източна Европа в областта на социалните и хуманитарните науки. През 2021 година платформата на CEEOL има повече от 2 милиона и 400 хиляди посещения и повече от 5,5 милиона преглеждания на страници. И това не е случайно. Всеки един читател лесно може посредством браузване на тематични области, по-широки или по-тесни, да достигне до това, което е необходимо, а чрез множеството филтри, които са достъпни, той може да ограничава своите търсения с пресичания на тематични области, с избор на езици, с избори на съответни форми на публикуване, примерно статии и така нататък. Разбира се, търсително могат да започнат от множеството издатели, които са в CEEOL. Българските, например, са повече от 60 научни издателства. Също така, чрез списания, директно търсене посредством списания, които са необходими, бихме могли да се похвалим, че на практика най-значимите или почти всички български списания в областта на социалните и хуманитарните науки са в CEEOL. Това са повече от 160 списания и с дълбочина на издаване по близо 30-40 години, като някои от списанията са от началото на тяхното издаване и в CEEOL може би единственото място, където те се намират в своята пълнота. Също така могат да се използват различни форми на комбинирани търсения. Но това, което е важно, че CEEOL прави пълнотекстово индексиране, т.е. индексиране на всеки един знак в тези публикации, което предоставя възможност за търсене по дума или по стринг. И това е една от голяма помощ също за авторите или за именно търсенето чрез различни филтри, които те могат да намерят свои публикации или цитирания. През последните години CEEOL се ориентира и към индексиране и разпространение на електронни книги в областта на социалните и хуманитарните науки от Централна и Източна Европа, където също посредством различни търсения читателите могат да достигат до съответните публикации. Също се отнася и до сивата литература. Изданията без ISBN и ISBN в областта на социалните и хуманитарните науки в Централна и Източна Европа. Едно от новите неща, които прави CEEOL през последните години, това е и дигитализацията на стари издания, като целта е попълването на празнините в тези области и тук може да се видят също такива, има достъп до такива издания, свързани с Централна и Източна Европа. Като логично следствие от дейността на CEEOL до сега и с ясен фокус в хуманитарните науки от Централна и социалните науки на Централна и Източна Европа, CEEOL създаде през 2020 година и собствено издателство CEEOL Press и започна собствена издателска дейност. CEEOL Press се ръководи от Кристина Кош, която доскоро за повече от десетилетия беше директор на CEEOL Press. CEEOL Press това е издателство на Централно-европейския университет в Будапеща. По време на този семинар тя ще сподели с вас своя опит и резултатите на насоките на развитие на CEEOL Press като международно академично издателство, като разбира се акцента в това и как бихте могли да публикувате с CEEOL Press. По време на представянето бихте могли да задавате въпроси в чата, да ги формулирате на английски и на български. В края ще се опитаме да ги предадем на Криста, да може да отговори на тях. Аз ще напиша и моя имейл, предполагам повечето от вас го знаят. Евентуално и за допълнителни въпроси след презентацията, които могат да бъдат отправени към нас. Сега ще дам думата на Кристина. Криста?
Great. You are the host?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I just let some people in. Thank you and welcome everybody, and thank you so much for being here with us today. My name is Kристина Кош and I am the director of CEEOL Press. And just this sharing thing is still tricky here. Okay. So today, before we dive into international academic book publishing and all steps to publish with CEEOL Press, I would like to first say a few words about CEEOL Press. We established the publishing house a little more than a year ago, last March, with the idea to publish from and about Central, East, and Southeastern Europe, political science, economics, history, you name it, and with the idea of to have a press that is not strictly academic, not strictly open access, but provides the possibilities for academic authors as well. But we would also like to reach the non-specialized reading public as well with our publications. So international academic book publishing. First, I would like to say a few words about how to go about deciding which publishing house you would approach with your manuscript or with your manuscript in progress. First of all, when you're writing a book, you need to decide what target audience you have in mind. If you are writing for local audiences, international audiences, if the book would be something that international academic libraries, research libraries would be interested in, or it could be a good candidate for classroom adoption, or if you have a broader public in mind, a less specialized reading public, these are very important decisions in the beginning. Obviously, you have in mind a kind of format that you want to publish your book in. Obviously, you will get feedback from the publishing house, and that will be decided later on. You should do a little bit of market analysis as well to see what other books are out there in the market that your book would be competing with. And then when you're deciding on the publishers to approach, I would just suggest to look at your bookshelves, to look at the books that you are reading for your research or more general interest, and see what publishing houses those were published in, and start your investigation that way. So when to contact the publishing house, I would suggest to do it as early as possible, at the very early stage of your process, when you have the structure of your book in mind, when you have a couple of chapters maybe written, and the sooner you get in touch with a publishing house, the sooner you will get the important feedback that will help to shape the book that you are writing. Almost with all the publishing houses, and it's the same with us as well, there's going to be a book proposal document that you will need to fill out, which will list the unique features of your book. In this book, you would be asked to say list other books that are on the market and as the competitors for your title. Suggest a few peer reviewers for the book, and such things. So this is basically the entry document when you are approaching a publishing house. Oh, sorry, I have to admit everybody. Okay. Then if the publishing house is interested in your title, then, and if it's an academic book, then obviously a peer review process which will start, which can be a sometimes very time-consuming thing, and it's pretty much out of the hand of the publishing house. There are extreme cases. I worked with academics who would review a book for us in 2 weeks, a week sometimes. And then there were other extremes when it was very difficult for like a very niche topic to find specialized readers, and it took almost a year to finalize this process. And then you will work in bigger publishing houses. They have acquisition or commission editors, so those would be the first context for you when you get in touch with the publishing house, and later on there will be an in-house editor assigned to your project. With smaller publishing houses like us, it's usually the same person, a couple of people working in the editorial office who have these various roles. Obviously, the publishing house will to your manuscript will add various working phases, from copy editing to proofreading, graphic design, and marketing as well. Oh, why can I move ahead? Okay. I just wanted to say there are so many people in this process. So many people will have some kind of impact on your work. Obviously, you, the author, would be the most important person in this process. And then the peer reviewers, in ideal and most of the cases, are very, very useful people in this process with their feedback, with their constructive criticism that can be based on which can your book even be modified and better. At the publishing house, there are several people, from editors to marketing people and others as well, who all play a role in the success of your book. Freelancers are used for copy editing, design, etc. Most of the time. We at CEEOL Press are very lucky to have a very talented graphic designer on our staff who does the typesetting and cover design for our titles. And then later, when the book is printed or put in an ebook format, there are various distributors who help the book get to the audience that it's designed for. And then obviously the readers, whose impact is getting even more and more important nowadays with the immediate effect in the online world. I just wanted to show a little visual for the life cycle of the book, starting on top with the contract. So when your book has passed the peer review process and then it has been approved by the publishing house for publication, then you will sign a contract with the publishing house. And in that, you will already have a very exact, clear date by which they expect you to submit the manuscript. And when you are submitting the manuscript for publishing, it's very important to very thoroughly follow the guidelines that your publishing house provides you with. We are here at CEEOL Press as well have a very detailed guidelines that if you follow that, that's going to make your life, our life, everybody's life much easier. Will shorten this publishing cycle, speed up the process. So it's very important to take this document very seriously. At the same time, once your book is approved for publishing, the publishing house will start preparing all kinds of marketing material, online, offline, for your book, in which your input will be asked. Especially with us, you will definitely have a say in those matters. Then when you submit your text, and a professional copy editor will finalize it, and with us in most of the cases, since we have published in English so far, and we also have a couple of German and French books that we republished out of print titles. But if you write a book that is not your native language, then definitely a native copy editor will be assigned to it, and do a round of language editing as well. Then you finalize your text for typesetting, and it will be typeset. And then once it's typeset, only minor changes should be considered. Nothing substantial, since you have the pagination based on which you or a professional indexer can prepare a name and subject index if it's decided with the publishing house that it's needed for your book. And once all this is done and you finalize the cover, you have your endorsements for the cover and everything together, then you have the book ready for an ebook version, and simultaneously with us, you will have a print book as well. For the print book, we try to minimize stock, so we work with a print-on-demand company, one of the biggest book distribution companies, Ingram, and this is from there your book would be distributed to all the various interested customers, from libraries to bookstores, etc. Yes. Marketing and distribution should be considered obvious. It's very obvious that it should be considered a very important part, but the reason I'm stressing it, because in my professional career, I have encountered many cases when the authors basically think that their job ends when they finished writing the book. And my experience shows that the more involved you as an author in the marketing and distribution of your book, the more success you will reach. Obviously, the publisher has their professional, well-known ways of marketing your book, but it's much easier and much more successful with the author. Just listed a few things that can be considered part of it. Review copies will be sent out to all the best review journals that are best for your book. I mean, direct mailing and social media campaigns we use them very heavily. Book launches are organized. Last year, obviously, we had to do them online, but hopefully very soon we will be able to go back to normal and have real life book launches. We participate in various conferences and book fairs, and if you have a lecture, a roundtable discussion, etc., those are also very good places to distribute maybe flyers and advertise your book amongst your colleagues. I would like to say a few words about the responsibilities of an editor of a collected volume, which there are many out there, and people, conference proceedings or other types of collected volumes exist. And if you are the editor of, you have the honorable and very difficult task to be the editor of a collected volume. You will be the one who handles this team of authors, and you will be the first contact to the publisher, and from the publisher to your authors. You have the responsibility to make sure that all the deadlines are met, that the copyright issues are cleared. The authors will have permissions for the visuals, text, etc., that they use in their articles. You have written consent from your authors for their pieces, and in cases which are very common, when authors would like to have their articles, a shortened version, a modified version of it, published in a journal before the book comes in, you have to make sure that it is done in a correct way, and you have the consent, and they have the consent from the publisher, etc. As for copyright, as I said, it's a very important part of the process. You have to make sure that all your permissions are there for your book, for your article, if you're in a collected volume, text and illustrations as well. It's I think it's almost all in all the cases very clearly stated in the contract what your responsibilities are, what the publisher's responsibilities are in this field. But this is something that, and if you're not sure, and if you don't know what to do in lack of any response from a copyright holder, then obviously the publishing houses, we can help you with that. As I said, we are not exclusively an open access publisher, but we have the means to publish open access books as well. As I said, our titles, the ebook titles, are immediately entered into the CEOL database upon publication, and the print books will be distributed through Ingram. For the open access titles, there are still very many different business models to support them, including the book processing charges. As I said, it's just a rough estimate, but it varies greatly by publishers, how much they charge for it, and how these costs can be covered. I'll show you this graphic just that I got from an online report that was published last year, just to see how complex it is still, this field of open access books support, what kind of revenue models are out there. The third-party subsidies would be, grants would be a good example for them. You have the embedded institutional support, obviously, when you are affiliated with a research or institution or a university, you might have a line assigned for publishing in your research budget. For the consortium model is getting more and more widespread, and for that, the library crowdfunding model is getting a momentum right now. You have the earned revenue models, because there's many of them. And in this, basically, we sort of follow that with book processing charge as well. But also the earned revenue model is when you have the ebook open access available online, and then simultaneously you have for sale print copies of the same title. So as I said, to answer the big question of who pays for open access books, certain cases it's the author who pays for them if they are not affiliated with any kind of institution, universities, research centers, national funding institutions. The European Research Council has allocated money for that, and as I said, in the library model, it's the libraries who pre-finance books that they would be interested to have in their collection. Okay, and just as you are probably all familiar with this, but there are various open access versions from Gold, Green, Diamond, and I just wanted to state at the end what kind of versions, what kind of model we are following in that area. You can have peer-reviewed or without peer review. You can have books processing charges involved or not, books available immediately or embargoed for some time. There are various models. We here at CEOL Press treat the open access books just as we would any kind of publication. So we have the peer review process, the editorial work done on it, and we make them available immediately, simultaneously with the print for sale books, and we have a book processing charge as well. Okay. So I also wanted, before I finish and hand it over for questions, if you have any, I wanted to show you our website. So you have some sense. We have the books listed here. These are the new titles. This is a forthcoming title that we have. It will be coming out in about a month from a Bosnian scholar. And if you go to the books page, you would see that you can go to the PDF ebook, which would take you to the CEOL platform, where you can find parts of the book that you can look into, and then you have the chance to buy the book there. Or if you want the print book, then we linked Amazon to it, and then that's one of the places where you can find it. It's not the only place. We are connected through Ingram to all the big e-retail sites where you can get the book. So it has a great visibility to everybody. So okay. So that oh, I still have to admit people. Okay. So I think I'm finished. That's pretty much what I wanted to say. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Well, we are live on Facebook. From Facebook, there are no questions. In the chat, I will wait for Detalin to see if there are questions there. But I have one question for you, Krista. CEEOL Press publishes only in English?
No. We so far published, the new books that we published were in English, but we would like to make our press available for regional languages as well, and other languages. So we would like to offer that possibility to the authors. And also, I didn't say another thing is that in addition to being a publishing house, we sorry, I'm just letting people in still. So we would like to also be act as a an agency for authors in the region, so to connect them to other publishing houses if we are not the perfect match for them. But I find it that it's sometimes very difficult for regional authors to have publishing houses in other languages, to connect to them, how to go about it, what's the process, how to negotiate their deals, etc. So we would also like to help out the authors in that area as well.
And in the same time, we are talking about the two big models of publishing, isn't it? Yes. Traditional and open access.
Yes.
You shown on CEEOL Press some recent titles published. Those were open access or traditional?
No, those were traditional books, not open access. But soon, probably in a few months, we'll have the first open access title.
Great. A final question from me. It is only academic publishing. CEEOL Press is dealing only with academic publishing?
No. We would like to reach a much wider audience. We would like to be a kind of academic publishing house that has also titles that are of more general interest and has a broader appeal to not just the specialized readers, but anybody who's interested in Central, Eastern, Southeastern Europe.
Great. Thank you very much. For the people that join, also, I think that Detalin will announce that this presentation was recorded, and we will make it available on Facebook and YouTube. If you will need the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation, just let us know. Send us a message on info@ceol.com, or maybe Detalin would like to leave his email address.
At the end of the presentation, may I ask a question? Sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. I was just curious to understand if the titles you publish are available exclusively via the CEEOL database, or you work also with other providers of information.
The ebook titles, you mean the ebook version?
Yes, I mean the ebook
they
version.
are exclusively through CEOL.
Okay, thank you very much, and for the presentation as well. Thank you.
I put my email address and the info@ceolpress.com email address in the chat for anybody who would like to reach out and maybe have questions later to me.
Okay, Detalin?
Okay, I can see questions in the chat. Maybe there will be questions directly.
Oh, there's a question.
Yeah.
There is now, yes.
Yes. How much does it take to publish a book roughly? A year maximum, I would say, yes. The experience so far with the 3 books that we have worked on, we published the first 2 in about 8-9 months, including peer review.
There is also questions. Send a link to
Yes.
Facebook page.
I'll do it right now.
Yes, there is in the invitation also. We'll write this Facebook page in chat. Yes, it is here, CEEOL Press.
And we are also on Twitter and Instagram. So we try to gain as much visibility for the titles as possible on those social media platforms as well.
Here is also my email if somebody have more questions or information about CEEOL Press. You can also write to me or directly to Krista, of course. Yeah.
And also added the CEEOL Bulgaria page too. Oh, sorry, maybe I haven't.
I've pasted.
Oh, you have? Okay.
For CEEOL Bulgaria. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Бих искал да благодаря на всички, които се включиха в този семинар. Ще се опитаме в бъдеще по различни актуални проблеми, свързани с CEEOL Press, да правим подобни семинари. Ще се радвам също така, ако по някакви конкретни въпроси смятате, че би могло да се направи някакъв семинар, който да е полезен за вас. Виждам тук представители на много от издателствата, също на библиотеките, така че бихме могли да организираме и различни други семинари по определени въпроси. Имаше и такива въпроси, разбира се, благодаря за тях. Дали бихме могли да ги дискутираме. Надявам се в следващи семинари те също ще могат да бъдат дискутирани. Това, което искам да кажа е, че през тези години за повечето от нас CEEOL е бил не толкова работа, колкото една мисия. И резултатите към момента с тези повече от 56 000 статии, над 160 списания, които са в CEEOL и с разрастваща се база от електронни книги и публикации в областта на силата литература в CEEOL показват възможността и на българската наука да достига до повече читатели посредством CEEOL и се надяваме в бъдеще да продължим с тази наша работа. Надявам се и в скоро време да имаме и българска книга, която да е публикувана от CEEOL Press. Благодаря ви още веднъж и до нови срещи!